South Africa is commemorating the 2024 Human Rights Day. It is a day observed annually on March 23rd that reminds the country of the painful past where scores of people who were protesting against the unjust past laws were killed by the Apartheid regime in Sharpeville and Langa. This year's Human Rights Day commemoration is held under the theme, 3 Decades of Respect for and Promotion of Human Rights, by recognizing the human rights activists and defenders who fought for human rights. And to speak more on this, I'm joined live on the news by Henk Boshoff, Commissioner at the South African Human Rights Commission. Good afternoon from here. It's a pleasure to have you join me.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to join you. Thank you.
All right. Talk to me about the significance of Human Rights Day in South Africa.
Well, Human Rights Day is commemorated every year on the 21st of March as a reminder of the sacrifices that accompanied the struggle for the attainment of democracy in South Africa. You have referred to the incidents in Sharpeville and Langa, and that obviously is one of the main reasons why we are commemorating Human Rights Day in South Africa. And today also provides an opportunity to reflect on the progress we have made as a country with regards to the promotion and protection of human rights in South Africa.
But so far, how has human rights evolved in South Africa since the end of apartheid?
Well, significant progress has been made in South Africa. There's obviously equal opportunities in the country. We are working towards equality in the country, but there are still some serious challenges in the country as well. We are only 30 years into democracy, and we are still facing some challenges with regards to the attainment of human rights in South Africa. And we have a very high crime rate in South Africa at the moment. There are some very significant service delivery challenges in South Africa, especially at local government level, at municipal level, where people still lack access to a basic human right like the provision of water. There is some issues with sanitation as well, and then obviously we have some challenges with regards to the provision of electricity, and the government is working very hard to address that. Racism remains a challenge in the countries, as is equality. Some academics and political commentators have mentioned that South Africa is the most unequal country in the world. So those are issues that we need to work on. But it's a much better place, South Africa, than it was in pre-1994.
Henk, I hear you when you talk about, equality for human rights in South Africa. You talked about racism still being in full gear in South Africa. But how about your constitution? How does it protect and promote human rights for your citizens?
Well, the Bill of Rights is one of the most important chapters in the Constitution. Chapter 2 deals with the Bill of Rights, and there's a variety of rights that have been enshrined in the Constitution, and then you have a constitutional body like the South African Human Rights Commission that has the mandate to promote respect for human rights, to promote the protection of human rights. And we also monitor and assess the observance of human rights. So with regards to protecting human rights and using the Constitution, which is our superior law in South Africa. Human rights have been enshrined in the Constitution. It is just how we ensure, as a watchdog body, as the Human Rights Commission, but also as government, to ensure that human rights are respected, promoted, and protected in South Africa.
I know you talked about the Human Rights Commission, but just elaborate for me, what has been their role so far in promoting or protecting human rights in South Africa?
Yeah, the Human Rights Commission has quite a wide mandate in terms of not only the Constitution, but also our own act, the South African Human Rights Commission Act. So our main objective is to promote respect for human rights, as I've indicated, to promote protection, to monitor and assess the observance of human rights. So what we do is we make recommendations to state organs to strengthen, the promotion, the protection of human rights. So where we identify some shortcomings, we would make recommendations to state organs. Where there are serious violations, we would also immediately investigate and make recommendations to state organs. We undertake studies, empirical academic studies, to also advise government, state organs on how to promote and protect human rights. A number of education programs have been rolled out, and we have close liaison with other bodies that have similar responsibilities to what we have. We also, review policies of government, and where we identify that there are some shortcomings in the policies, we recommend that those policies be amended. And then with regards to proposed legislation that will go to our parliament, we monitor proposed legislation. And if we identify certain provisions that are contrary to Chapter 2, that is the Bill of Rights in the Constitution, we then obviously also advise Parliament on how they can amend legislation or amend the draft legislation.
Well, thank you so much for your insight on the news. Henk Boshoff, Commissioner at South African Human Rights Commission. Thank you once again.
Only a pleasure.